The Second World War, for its type, was and still remains the most devastating conflict in history. Very few nations were spared its wrath, and fewer still escaped its hardships. As the Nazis rampaged across Europe, British citizens were evacuated from its cities. But such measures were not enough to protect them from the fury of the Blitz, which ravaged many parts of the country, including Sodor itself. In response to this, many of us volunteered to take the fight straight to the enemy. On the front lines of Africa, we squared off against Rommel's Desert Corps. Throughout that campaign, we were subjected to acts of espionage, both in the field and on the home front. Our efforts and those of our allies would bring the war to Germany itself, where we would bear witness to the many atrocities that had been committed. But, I'm sorry to say, the one inevitability about war is that people die, and unfortunately, not all of us would live to see its end. Come on, engines, let's give 'em hell! Who's there? Are you Fat Controller's engines? Aye, I'm proud of it. Alright, engines, listen up. I have something very important to tell you all. And make sure you do listen, because I am not going to repeat myself. As you know, a couple of weeks back, Mr. Zorro and I had a meeting with the railway board. Many of you have asked me since why I haven't talked about it. It's because we were prohibited from doing so until today. Why is that, sir? As you are no doubt aware, the situation in Europe has been rather grim for some time, and Germany's recent occupation of Czechoslovakia has only made matters worse. You may also recall how last year the Fat Controller conducted an inspection, that it was part of his overall examination of Britain's railways. He wanted to make sure they were prepared in the event of war. Is it really that likely to happen, sir? I don't know, Gordon. But both the Railway Board and the Ministry of Defence want to make sure the nation is not caught off guard. Even as we speak, goods trains loaded with munitions and weapons are bustling throughout the countryside. And one of those trains is headed here, The nor'easters will handle that one, as they've been instructed to outfit the west and northwestern side of the island. We are to handle the southern and eastern side of Sodor. Will our equipment be arriving on the same train, sir? No. That shipment will be for the nor'easters. A second one will arrive tomorrow, being pulled by Peter, whom you will be happy to know is finally out of crew. If the second shipment is arriving tomorrow, sir, does that mean the first is coming today? Yes, it does, Thomas. The engine has been instructed to bring her train straight here. It's been given priority, so all other trains have been shunted. That probably means James and Edward are stuck at Barrow right now. I feel sorry for Edward. This is disgusting! Will you stop complaining, James? How can you be so calm about this, Edward? We were shunted without any explanation. How do they expect us to run an efficient railway if we're to suffer these kinds of setbacks? It's likely an unavoidable change in the schedule. Last minute, clearly. So last minute that neither Whiff or the station master know anything about it? Neither did know. So there's your answer. Whatever it is, I wish it weren't on a day where I was so busy. After this train, I've got to take some cattle to Elsbridge Harbour and then do 3 coal runs. 3! And I'm hoping Thomas doesn't drop by the mine before Kate can shunt my trucks. Why's that? Edward, are you really that naive? No, James, I'm not. Then you know how much of a distraction he is to her, and vice versa. But the work still gets done. Kate is a professional after all, as is Thomas. That didn't keep either of them out of Railgate, did it? If incarceration together doesn't make their courtship official, nothing will. I think a relationship is built on a lot more than mere proximity to one another, old chap. And I think they're a meaningless diversion. You really believe that? All right, maybe not all of them. Mr. Starr is always that much happier when his wife visits the station. Other than that, I think they're more trouble than they're worth. So you've never been in a relationship? Ever? No. As long as I have my work, I'm happy. Yes, I can see that. Who's that? I don't know. Hello, lads. Can either of you tell me how far off I am from Knapford? Hello? Oh, sorry. You're taking this lot to Knapford? Yes? Is there a problem? We're just not used to seeing guns of any size, much less such big ones. What are these for? Has war been declared? Not so far as I know. It's just for precautions. That's encouraging. I don't relish the idea neither. But it's best to prepare for the worst so it don't catch you off guard. That's very true. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. It's Molly. Nice to meet you, Molly. My name's Edward. And this is James. And in answer to your question, you're about 30-odd miles from Knapford. Just carry along this track and you should get there inside the hour. Is that where I'll find Mr. Starr? I was told to report to him. Yes. So, our director knew this was coming? Strange he didn't tell us. I can't answer that, mate. All I know is my job. No, I understand. Forgive me, I wasn't accusing you. I know. Anyway, I best be off. Nice meeting you too. I'm sure we'll see each other again very soon. What? So that's it, eh, James? You prefer blondes, do you? For your information, Edward, I was staring at the guns. Of course you were. Edward, I'm being serious. Wait, really? Then why was your face frozen like that? Now that I think about it, you look more scared than surprised. What's the matter? None of your business, that's what. Blimey, what brought that on? Drop it, Edward. Bust my boiler. I'll be having words with Mr. Starr about this. Mr. Starr? What's he got to do with this? I said drop it, old iron. Oh, nice. Well, Molly, let me be the first to welcome you to the island of Sodor. Did you have any problems getting here? No, sir. I thought I might have gotten lost at one point, but I managed to find the way thanks to a real nice bloke named Edward. That's the Edward I told you about back on the GER, Molly. You don't say. I can't believe I didn't realise that. Small world. Was James there by any chance? Yes. Why? I'd like to apologise for any abrasive comments he might have made. Actually, he didn't say anything. What? Nothing at all? A few stammers, but that's it. Are we talking about a red engine with golden stripes and the number 5 on his tender? Yeah, that's him. He just stared dumbfounded, almost like he was scared of the guns. I'm not surprised. Excuse me, sir? Nothing. That's enough chit-chat, engines. We have important work to do. Molly, I'm sure you'll need to refuel. You'll find some coal and water around the corner. Once you've topped up, get back here and we can make a start on this lot. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll be right back. Whoa! I know. These are impressive weapons. I don't think he was referring to the guns, Toby. Guns? See what I mean? Oh. What? It's nothing to be embarrassed about, Eric. Molly has that effect on engines. So, other blokes are interested, eh? Oh. Don't be discouraged, mate. She's available. Really? You think I have a chance? I do. She's always been interested in friendly chaps, so you might just be her type. Thanks, Winston. Just try not to overdo it. I concur. Make sure your work comes before all other considerations, Eric. And make sure you don't do anything stupid. Don't worry, sir. You can count on me. I hope so. Are you ready? Absolutely. Let's go. Excuse me, Mr. Starr. Oh, hello, James. How are you? Good evening, Mrs. Starr. I'm well, thank you. You look very nice. Thank you. John is taking me out to dinner to a lovely little bistro that just opened up near Carlton. Oh, well, I take it you want to talk to me, James? If I may, sir. Of course. I won't be long, my dear. I'll wait in the car. I know what you want to say, James. Sir, with all due respect, how could you not tell me we were getting in such a shipment of weapons? You know my history with them. Of course I do. But I was ordered to stay silent by the Fact Controller himself. Does he not know? This may surprise you, James, but there are greater concerns than yourself. The safety of the nation, for one. At any rate, I did take your well-being into consideration. Why do you think I arranged it so you would be too busy to help the others position those weapons? Oh, so you see, I'm not completely heartless. I take it you still haven't told the others about your past? No, sir. I just can't bring myself to talk about it. You remember me telling you that I served in the Great War? Of course, sir. The Gallipoli campaign, right? Yes. For years after, I wouldn't talk about it with anyone. I was afraid if I did, the horrors would come flooding back. Then one day, I realized that being silent wasn't going to change what had happened. Did talking about it help? Not really. But I still think it was better than keeping it to myself. And given the conversation I had with Edward earlier, it'd probably do you well to talk about it. Are you ordering me to do that, sir? Of course not. Only you can decide when you're ready. But you might want to decide soon, as we and the middies will be getting in additional shipments over the coming weeks. And I will need your help to organize them. Can you do this, James? I'll try, sir. No, I don't want you to try. I want you to do. This job is too important to not have your complete attention. Look me in the eye and answer this question definitively. Can you do this? Yes, sir. I can. Very good. I knew I could rely on you, James. Peter's return was warmly welcomed by the middies, who were also slightly intimidated by the train he had brought with him. Now that both companies had received their shipments, Sodor's militarization could begin in earnest. In addition to positioning the railguns and the ammunition they fired, trucks loaded with disassembled weapons of various types were carried about and hastily set up by skilled technicians. Naturally, the sight of so much military hardware on and above Sodor gave many cause for concern. However, it also inspired intense patriotism by an equal number of people. I've always suspected that was intentional, especially given what the second phase of this undertaking was revealed to be. After the initial defenses were established, which took about a fortnight to complete, it was announced that a joint Army-Navy base was going to be built near Vickerstown. This project, we and the middies would take part in together, doing so quite harmoniously. I'm pleased to say that throughout both phases of the effort, James had been his usual reliable self. However, he still didn't talk about why he'd had such an acute reaction to the guns. That was until one day during the construction of the base. You must feel right at home working this close to the water, eh, Frog? Can you give that a rest for 2 minutes, Diesel? I could, but I'm not going to. Fancy being silly enough to fall into a canal. Says the engine who got bumped off the rails by a breakdown train. And who attempted to shunt trucks that were meant to be scrapped. Grrr! You know what? I don't have time to waste on you two. I've got better things to do. Like what? Nothing. Ha ha ha. bother! Cracking performance as always, Diesel. Shut up, sausage. I don't need your spite. What in fizzling fireboxes is going on here? Diesel? What are you doing playing around with the guns? I wasn't playing with it. It just derailed while I was shunting it. The gears probably got jammed in the sleepers or something. Oh, so you just happened to get the dodgy one. Is that right? One of these days, Diesel, your mucking about is going to cause a disaster. I wasn't. Never mind. Let's just get this sorted. Faulty points. You see, James, it wasn't my fault. You got lucky, Diesel. If that thing had fired when it derailed... What? It wasn't loaded, you twit. Why would it be? I don't know, but you can't be too careful. The slightest mistake with these kinds of weapons can spell disaster. Sounds like you're speaking from experience, James. I don't want to talk about it, Percy. Well, we do. Excuse me? This has gone on long enough. Clearly, you have some profound issues with regards to these armaments, and we want to know what they are. We, the rest of us, have been talking. We were going to speak to you tonight at the shed, but as the old saying goes, there's no time like the present. Look, I'm sorry I've been acting like a prat lately. It's just, these weapons remind me of a part of my life I'm not eager to revisit. James, whatever the problem, we can help you through it. Please, tell us. All right, I'll tell you. It was back when I was part of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. I worked on its Eastern Division with my partner, Amanda. We were both mixed traffic engines, so we were kept plenty busy. A regular job of ours was to deliver shipments from a munitions factory on our part of the line. One day, we were both assigned to handle a particularly large delivery, which included several gun batteries similar to the ones we've been getting recently. The job was going well enough until I had to shunt a couple of railguns, one of which was primed and loaded. It took only the slightest bump and the thing fired. Next thing I know, I'm waking up in the works a month later. There, my manager told me the factory had been destroyed, 43 people were dead, and Amanda had been scrapped. Bust my buffers! That's horrible! Too right. Why was the gun loaded? That was one of the many questions asked by the Royal Commission that was convened to investigate the matter. Turns out it was a miscommunication among the employees. So it wasn't your fault. It was an accident. Of course it was, Percy. But let me ask you this. What does that change? Not much, I suppose. Exactly. And what makes it worse is that when I said Amanda was my partner... Oh, that's terrible. Now you lads know. I guess I should be more careful around these things in future. Probably a good idea. Thank you for telling us, James. You did the right thing. I hope so. Word of James's past soon got around the island, his story rendering those who heard it speechless. The outpouring of support our number 5 received from engines big and small, middies and nor'easters, was phenomenal. He very much appreciated it and said as much. I'm pleased to say that the base's construction did not experience any sort of disaster. And on July 4th, 1939, Fort Sudrian was officially opened. Aside from servicing the Royal Navy, the facility also acted as the training centre for a newly formed army regiment, the 51st Vickerstown. Its opening was a great boon for both rail companies, as we now had a new client, one that required regular and hefty shipments of munitions, fuel, and machinery. Once all the work was completed, Geoffrey would leave Sodor, as Peter's return meant he was no longer necessary. He parted on good terms. With most of us, that is. His departure also coincided with the scheduling of Winston's 5-year service. This forced Mr. Starr to extend Molly's stay on Sodor to cover the heavy goods work. This was an arrangement we all found very agreeable, especially Eric. But that is a story for another day.
I am speaking to you from the Cabinet Room at 10 Downing Street. This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government a final note stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
I still get chills in my smokebox whenever I remember that day. The utter terror that declaration created was palpable. Everyone knew what the Nazis were capable of, and there were legitimate fears that they might roll right over Britain. These concerns were reinforced by the Germans' blitz across Europe, and it became very apparent early on that this Second World War would be nothing like the First. The opening months of the war were an intense time. Between September 1939 and May 1940, the Nazis went from one victory to another. It was during this period that the famous Operation Dynamo was carried out. From the beaches of Dunkirk, more than 338,000 Allied servicemen were evacuated to England aboard a motley fleet of ships. Lauded as a great victory by the media, this inspiring event motivated the nation to properly assemble itself for war. Winston Churchill became head of the wartime coalition government, and he was quick to appoint a number of proactive ministers who ramped up the production of aircraft, coal, and other necessities. I'm proud to say that we were a critical component in getting the nation ready. Thanks in large part to the Fat Controller's preparedness, Britain's railways were primed to support Old Blighty. As it was during the last war to end all wars, the various companies were unified into a single force. Engines from the SR, GWR, LMS, and LNER bustled about the network, delivering weapons, vehicles, and materials wherever they were needed. It's amazing how quickly we forgot our differences, how it no longer mattered what engine belonged to which company. All that mattered was survival. Alright, that's the last of it. That's a lot of petrol. Any idea where it's going? Yes. I spoke with one of the captains. This is part of a supply shipment for General Wavell's expedition force in Africa.
The one fighting against the Italians?
The very same.
Phew. How's that work, eh?
In the last war, the Italians fought beside us against the Germans. Not at the start they didn't. True, but they picked the right side in the end. So why are they fighting against us now?
Damn politics is what it is. All that bloody propaganda has made them soft in the head.
I guess that's why Stalin and Hitler are such chums then. Give it time. I'm sure that alliance will fall apart.
Why do you say that?
Because fascism and socialism are polar opposites to each other. And if history is any indication, differing ideologies inevitably lead to conflict. That explains why we're at war now.
Aye. Well, we best get a move on before the enemy gets here.
Good idea. I don't fancy seeing a Schwartz sticker above Brendam Station.
I didn't mean the Nazis.
Then who?
Attention! Attention!
Oh, right.
What is all this then? Why are you three just standing there?
We are just pondering the circumstances of this blasted conflict, Benson. Nothing to blow a valve over.
Well, this blasted conflict is not going to let up just because you've found the time to muse about it. Our chaps on the front lines need to be well supplied if they are to continue the fight. And that's not going to happen if you waste time gasbagging. Now, get those pistons moving. I want to see smoke the colour of pitch spewing from those funnels. And I want mobilization. You hear me? Mobilization!
I suddenly find myself craving the front lines if it means being away from him.
You and me both, Gordon.
Morning, Gordon. Good morning, gentlemen. What's the matter? You seem distracted. Is this about your run-in with Benson yesterday? You heard about that? Colin was by this morning. I'll tell you what, that engine is a right old prat. He came by here a couple of weeks back, and I've never met a more unpleasant chap. He is unpleasant, to be sure. But what's put a damper on my spirits is the realization he may have been right to scold Henry, Colin, and I. Why do you say that? Well, the three of us were wasting time chatting when we should have been working. Benson put it best when he said our chaps on the front line need to be well supplied if they are to continue the fight. It's not like you've been sitting on your tender since the war began. How many tons of raw material and vehicles have you shifted these past few months? It's not the same as being there in the line of fire with our soldiers. Don't believe the old stories, Gordon. Frontline service is neither glamorous or exciting. It's a terrible ordeal. You would be the expert in that regard, Stanley. All the same. Gordon! I just got a telephone call from Mr. Starr. You're to report to Barrow at once. Barrow? What for? He didn't say. Only that it was a matter of extreme urgency, and you are to get there as quickly as possible. Understood. I'm on my way. Hello, Gordon. Donald? Reginald? James? What are you three doing here? Don't you remember, Gordon? Remember what? Wait. Oh no. You mean... Yes, Gordon. Operation Chariot has been put into effect. Good Lord. So France has fallen? I'm afraid so. They surrendered to the Germans earlier today.
Hardly surprising if you ask me.
Aye, I'm convinced the motto of the French army is, "Have your white flags at the ready."
All right, that's enough. Denigrating them will not change their situation. Or ours.
Indeed, Nigel. The four of you have volunteered for the operation. You've been assigned to Bristol. Once you've finished with that city, you'll be sent wherever necessary.
Any idea how real the danger is, sir?
Real enough that the government feels the need to evacuate our major cities. Good luck. Stay safe. Well, Gordon, according to Colin, you wanted to serve on the front line. Will this suffice? Indeed, Donald. Come along, gentlemen. Our nation needs us. The first time I met Molly, she said it's best to prepare for the worst so it doesn't catch you off guard. Clearly, someone in the British government heard this wise tidbit. On June 22nd, 1940, France signed an armistice with Germany, effectively submitting to an occupation. With this conquest, the Nazis began positioning large numbers of aircraft dangerously close to our borders. Seemingly anticipating this, the War Department had secretly devised Operation Chariot, whereby the railways would be used to evacuate civilian populations from major cities to the countryside. Though the War Department had assigned a sizable corps of engines to the task, they put out a call for volunteers in the event they weren't enough. Gordon, Reginald, James and Donald had all raised their figurative hands for the job. And as Mr. Starr said, the first city they were assigned to evacuate was Bristol, where they would find a few familiar faces. Well, lads, we can now rest easy. Our Sudrian saviors have arrived. Hello, Duck. How are you? All the better knowing you've come to help us. Aren't you going to introduce us to your friends, Duck? Oh, of course. Donald, James, Reginald, and Gordon, this is Wendell and William. Ah, so you two are the engines from that unfortunate incident a few years back.
I'm afraid so. It was my fault. I made a deal with the wrong people. I don't think Gordon was making a stab at either of you.
No, I wasn't. I was merely making an observation. Besides, that doesn't matter now. Not when there's work to do. Very true, Gordon. So we best get to it. Indeed. Where are the coaches?
Over there. As you can see, the War Department has given us a sizable number for the evacuation. You think the Germans would be bold enough to attack us here? If they do, they'll have to contend with the Bristol bow fighter.
The what?
Wait for it.
What on earth was that?
The Bristol bow fighter. An attack craft designed and built right here in Bristol. And we've got more than a few of them. If the Nazis want to bomb this city, they'll have to first fight through its entire air force.
I almost hope the bastards do come here now. It'd be a nice dose of humility for Hitler to lose all his aircraft in one hit. Aye, it certainly would. All right, I think that's enough chit-chat. Duck, what are the arrangements going to be? The basic setup is William, Wendell and I will shunt the coaches every time a group of evacuees are ready. And you lot will be taking them to various locations about the Rosworth Vale. The first lot are going out almost immediately. Gordon, this one is yours. Excellent. Let's get these people to safety. You lads have been outstanding. Thanks to you, we're actually ahead of schedule. Well, if you're not early, you're late. That's what Mr. Zorro says. And presently, James is late. Where is he? He was supposed to take out the next train 20 minutes ago. I'm sure he has a good reason, Gordon. He had better. That train needs to go now if we're to stay ahead. Reginald, take it out, would you? Why me? Because I asked you to. Gordon, you're not in charge of this operation, so don't presume to give me or anyone else orders. I wasn't giving orders, Reginald. Like I said, I asked you to take that train. Well, I'm declining. May I ask why? I've been pulling trains non-stop for nearly 2 weeks now, and I'm very tired. I'm not taking any more until I've had a breather. Phew, I should have expected such sloth from a middy. Nor'easter nitwit. Good grief! Listen to yourselves. You're arguing over nothing. We're arguing over professional standards, Duck. That is not nothing. For nothing, it's certainly loud. Bust my boiler. We can hear you from up at the station. What do you want, Donald? I'm just here to tell you why James is late. He's been sent to Highbridge. Highbridge? What for? To help with the evacuation there, of course. The War Department heard we're ahead of schedule and diverted one of us to assist elsewhere. And they sent James? I feel so insulted. On that, you and I can agree, Reginald. I take back my earlier compliment. I'm so sorry about this, James. I've made you take time out of your duties. Alice, it wasn't your fault, so don't worry about it. The station master's put a call into Bristol, and Gordon's on his way. Excellent. It'll be nice to see him. So there's 2 upsides to your situation then. 2? Yes. You get to see Gordon, and you can't sneak up on me again. Oh yes. What a pity. Did you really pull that prank on Henry when you 2 worked on the GNR? And did he really fall for it every time? More or less. I do feel a little guilty, though. He was always so preoccupied with his health problems, it made it that much easier to sneak up on him. Clearly, he didn't mind. If I didn't know better, I'd think there was something between you 2. With all due respect, James, you don't know better. Wait, really? Really. We were and are just friends. Now Henry and a certain Stirling-class engine who also worked on our line, that's a different matter. Oh? Do tell. Well. Typical James. Wasting time chatting instead of working. What are you on about, Gordon? You dragged me all the way from Bristol for what? To help you because you can't handle the work? No, to help me because I can't. Oh, Alice, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. What do you mean? Her safety valve burst when she pulled into the platform. The train's too heavy for me to take, so you'll have to do it. Oh, I see. I apologize, James. What's gotten into you, Gordon? I'm in a rather bad mood today. Why's that? Reginald and I got into an argument. A pretty petty one in hindsight. I reckon I know the root of it, despite not being there. You're overtired. Why do you say that? I've seen it among those engines assigned to evacuation duty. All this travelling about with such heavy trains, it wears a locomotive out. Yes, indeed. It's just such an important task, I hardly think we can afford to dally. We won't be of any use to anyone if we burn ourselves out. Very true. I must apologize to Reginald when I get back to Bristol. Until then, where's this train going? Dulwood in the Rosworth Vale. Very good. I'll get right on it. Oh no! You think it's a drill? No, I don't! Gordon! What do you think I'm doing? There's a tunnel up ahead! We'll be safe in... Oh no! We have to go back! Are you nuts, Gordon? It's not safe! We can't just leave those people! They might... Oh God, no! 157 people died that day, 84 of whom were on Gordon's train. Highbridge was devastated by the air raid, as was our number 4, who felt nothing but guilt. The others tried their best to comfort him, but it didn't do any good. Instead, his grief twisted into rage as he asked the obvious question: why did the Nazis attack Highbridge in the first place? As it turned out, they hadn't just struck against the small port. Others, all along the coast, had been similarly attacked in lightning-fast raids in an effort to gauge the response time of the Royal Air Force. What was seen that day was a prelude to a larger campaign that was being prepared. The Battle of Britain was about to begin.
We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island or a large part of it were subjugated and starving, then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until, in God's good time, the new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old.
Though an inspiring speech, the sad truth is it was made prior to the surrender of France. Nonetheless, our resolve remained strong, even when the Luftwaffe began bombing towns and cities all across Britain, even when the war would come to Sodor itself. Depending on the source you consult, the Battle of Britain was either a single campaign or 2 separate ones that lasted from July 1940 to June 1941. One thing they can all agree upon is this was the first time in history where all the fighting took place in the air. The objectives of the Blitz were twofold: soften the nation up for a possible invasion, and break its morale. The Nazis figured that, under the weight of such relentless attacks, Britain would surely capitulate and surrender to fascist rule. I'm pleased to say their gamble failed, as Old Blighty held out against incredible odds, albeit at a terrible price. Thousands of planes clashed in the skies above. Thousands of pilots perished, with thousands more dying on the ground below. More than a dozen towns and cities were devastated by the many air raids, which were carried out at all hours. Of all these locations, it should come as no surprise that London was the hardest hit.
Bloody hell! If the Nazis keep this up, there won't be anything left of Britain for them to conquer.
Yes, quite. It wouldn't surprise me if that's their new goal, since our lads in the Air Force have yet to break.
You think Hitler would be so petty to destroy what he can't have?
I do. Most tyrants are. I can only imagine how he must have reacted to hearing the Italians were forced out of Africa. Well, they seem to have redeemed themselves, what with attacking Yugoslavia, Greece and Crete, and I hear they and the Germans have re-entered Africa under the command of some chap named Rommel. Just what we need, a renewed assault against a supposedly secured front. No, what we need is the assistance from the New World our Prime Minister alluded to last year. What will it take for the United States to get involved? Probably the same thing it did last time. Intense outrage to an attack on its sovereignty. Lest we forget, chaps, they have been supplying us with arms and other materials since the start of the conflict. That's all well and good, Scott, but what we need is men. Soldiers willing to lay down their lives in defense of king and country. This is the United Kingdom, Spencer, not the United States. They shouldn't have to fight our war unless it's in their interest to do so. Were the situation reversed, would you support intervening in a distinctly American conflict? No, I don't suppose I would. Well, if the Japanese expansion in Asia continues to go unchecked, we may well find ourselves in league with the Americans once again. Securing an ally at the cost of opening a new theatre to this war? I'm not too sure that's a trade worth making. What I am sure of is we need to keep these evacuation trains moving. And just pray we don't suffer a loss like Gordon did. Indeed. Does anyone know how he's holding up? Last I heard, fine, considering. It's a damn travesty, killing civilians. This war is a damn travesty. Is there something different about you, Molly? Yeah, I got an overhaul recently. Ah, that's it. You look nice. Thanks, Scott. I gotta say, I was surprised they were able to do such a thorough job. Why's that? The workshop I went to was near breaking point, filled with engines and rolling stock, some in a real shoddy state. And the men working the pits, they didn't let up for a single second. God bless their dedication. That's what I say. No two ways about it. I'm not complaining. I'm just making an observation. Allow me to make another. Anyone notice they've started rationing coal? Oh, hello, Albert. What are you doing here? They need a shunter in these parts, and I volunteered. Good show, old boy. And in answer to your question, most definitely. And it's taking its toll, that's for sure. Last week, I had to deliver a goods train to Morton Heath. I was practically running on sawdust for the entire trip. I did not feel well by the end of it. It's not right. We've all had to put up with some kind of nonsense. Just the other day, I had to act as banker to some poor chap hauling a line of guns up an 8-mile incline. He was way too small for the train he'd been given. If they keep forcing these kinds of conditions on us, we'll fall apart before the war is over. Come now, you two. Be fair. This is a perilous time for all of us. We all have to do our part. It may not be right, it may not be fair, but it's well beyond our control to fix. The best we can do is soldier on, as any true Brit would do. It's too bad engines can't run for Prime Minister, Scott. I reckon you could give Churchill a run for his money. I doubt anyone is a worthy opponent to Churchill. Except the Nazis. Clear the station! Jesus Christ! Bollocks to this! I'm heading for the tunnel! Have you lost your conkers, Molly? You'll never make it! Get blown up here or on my way to the tunnel? What's the difference? Alright, me too. Come on, Albert! Right behind! Oh no! What? The shed got hit! It's on fire! Everything's on bloomin' fire! But not everything has a line of fuel tankers next to it! And the yard office is just there! You think there might still be people inside? I wouldn't run outside during an air raid! Come on! We've got to move those tankers before they blow! Oh shit! Albert, what are you doing? Something bloody stupid! But Chris, I said bloody go! Oh dear God, no! While I'm pleased to say that Albert's driver, Christopher Robin, survived the attack, I am sorry to say that he lost the use of his legs. But his sacrifice wasn't in vain. Though nearly 30 people lost their lives in the raid on Lowfell, it could have been much higher had the oil tankers exploded in proximity to the yard office, wherein an additional 40 people had been hiding. For his bravery and quick thinking, Christopher became something of a national hero, as did Albert. Their example was a welcome source of inspiration across the country. Needless to say, when I heard about the exploits of my former colleague, I was bursting with pride. Your old mate is certainly making a name for himself, Edward. Indeed he is, dear Toby, and I couldn't be happier. It's been so long since I've heard anything about him, it's great to know he's still making a difference. You think we'll ever be remembered like that? Hard to say. Maybe if we follow Albert's example, or yours, Skarloey. Oh, come now, Edward. No need to bring that up. It was a very long time ago. Rescuing stranded workmen during a storm is still praiseworthy in my mind, old chap. I was just doing what needed to be done. Nothing more, nothing less. You think Albert showed that kind of humility, Edward? That's also hard to say. He and Thomas were very similar. They almost sound alike, if you can believe it. So Albert either took the praise all in his stride, or boasted about it until the cows came home. Best not to mention cows in case Gordon or Henry are about. Well put, old boy. Yes, that was a good one. Reminds me of a joke my driver told me the other day. Oh? Do tell. All right. 2 men walked into a bar. This is rubbish. Never mind. The punchline has been ruined. Oh, so you found time to joke, have you, Scarlowy? No wonder I get no rest. What's got your funnel in a twist, Duncan? I'll tell you what's got my funnel in a twist, Toby. I'm being worked off my wheels. No sooner one job is done, a dozen more need doing. What did you expect, Duncan? In case you've forgotten, we're fighting a war. Oh, is that what it is? I thought thousands of people were dying every day for shits and giggles. You really could and do complain about everything, don't you, Duncan? Are you saying all my complaints are without merit, Edward? All right. Since I don't work on your railway, I can't say that for sure. Well, I can. I'm hard-pressed trying to remember a single legitimate grievance you've ever had. That could either be selective or complete amnesia in your case, old-timer. Watch it, Duncan. All right. Come on. This is ridiculous. Whether you're being overworked or not is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. The jobs still need to be done. That is a good point, Toby. I'm forced to agree as well. Though, begrudgingly. For now, I'll take that. We need to get your trucks unloaded, Duncan, if I'm to take the munitions to Knapford. Why Knapford? Wouldn't the fort make more sense? The fort's overloaded. Those military shipments that can't be dispatched there are being sent out through Knapford or Brendam, and the yards at both are becoming very crowded. It makes me nervous hearing talk of crowded yards, as they're usually prime targets for German bombers. Aye, and since they've pillaged as far north as Scotland, for how much longer do you think they'll leave Sodor alone? I guess the best we can do, chaps, is cross our buffers and hope for the best.
Are you all right, Percy? You look knackered.
Oh, I am. I've had back-to-back jobs today. Not to mention, I had to cover one of Thomas's trains because he was stuck up at the quarry.
What train was that?
Delivering slate from the Mid-Sodor Railway to the Skarloey Railway.
Taking slate from one narrow gauge line to another? Why does that sound strange to me?
I don't know. I had the exact same thought. It shouldn't be strange. It's just, they must be the only narrow gauge railway in Britain that doesn't mine the stuff.
That may change in the future.
How so?
I heard they've got surveyors poking around the Nartwin Valley on the eastern side of Culdee Fell.
Really? That's pretty rough territory, isn't it?
Yes, but it's chock full of natural resources. And you know humans, if there's profit to be had, they'll find a way to exploit it.
Very true. Any idea when that'll happen?
No, but if I had to guess, it'll probably be after the war.
Who knows when that'll be, or if we'll even still be alive.
That does sound like a very big if.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, what gives? Why are we being shunted? Never mind! Christ almighty, Peter! Are you alright? Yeah, I almost got blown up out there, but otherwise... Oh no! What? Those gunpowder vans I bought in earlier. They're just over there! What? What are they doing there? It was the only sighting available. What happens if a bomb hits them? You can kiss your bunker goodbye, that's what. We gotta move them. If you do want to kiss your bunker goodbye, Thomas, then head on out there. I'll get them. Don't be stupid, Colin. I know that's a hard thing for you to do, but... Diesel, shut the hell up. I'm going to move those vans, and you can't stop me. It's a very brave thing you're doing, Colin. I just hope it helps. Oh no! I swear, when that dummy gets back, I'm gonna tear him... Colin! No! I wish I could say Colin survived that night. That he came back to Knapford bruised yet alive. But miracles seldom happen during war. When the fire and rescue team showed up the following morning, all they found of the Middy's number 1 and his crew was blackened metal and charred bones. It should go without saying, Colin's death left every engine on Sodor with a broken heart. Adam and Lily took it especially hard. His sacrifice made headlines across the country, and there is no doubt in my mind his heroics saved many lives. While more than 100 people died during the attack, with more than 300 suffering severe injuries, I shudder to think how truly catastrophic it might have been had those gunpowder vans exploded so near the station. Even though we were spared total disaster, the damage inflicted on the city and surrounding rails was extensive. So much so that Gordon, Reginald, James and Donald were recalled to help with the repairs. I'm pleased to say these were completed in record time. I'm also pleased to say the attack on Knapford was one of the last to be carried out by the Luftwaffe. A few days later, the Battle of Britain was officially declared over, with Blighty emerging victorious. I wish I could say our boys in the Air Force were solely responsible for this, but that wouldn't be entirely true. You see, the decline in ferocity and frequency of the raids coincided with Operation Barbarossa, in which the Nazis launched a massive invasion of Russia, breaking their non-aggression pact with the motherland. I've always considered this the turning point in the European theatre of the war, and the conflict as a whole. Later that year, two more great powers would come to blows. The fighting would extend into the Pacific and finally draw in the might of the New World.
Mr. Vice President, Mr. Speaker, members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. Japan has therefore undertaken a surprise offensive extending throughout the Pacific area. The facts of yesterday and today speak for themselves. No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
I'd be lying if I said there weren't more than a few grins on British faces following that speech. Shortly after the United States declared war on Japan, the United Kingdom did likewise. Now allied against a common foe, both nations began contriving strategies that truly would turn the tide of the war. And I'm pleased to say that we engines on Sodor were given the chance to make them happen. A lesser-known fact about America's involvement in the Second World War is that, in a technical sense, it had been a part of the conflict since before the attack on Pearl Harbor. The Lend-Lease Act, which was signed on March 11, 1941, enabled the United States to transfer arms and other materials to any nation it deemed was essential to its own defense. Britain had been among the handful of countries to receive such aid in the form of weapons, coal, iron, and other vital goods. And after Pearl Harbor, this support increased tenfold. Braving the German U-boats, vast convoys of ships crossed the Atlantic to deliver much-needed supplies to Old Blighty. A substantial amount also came to Sodor, which allowed us to carry out a massive overhaul of the island's rail network throughout the opening months of 1942. The old tracks were torn up and replaced with new ones. It truly was a treat passing over such smooth lines when they were first laid down. Of course, this wasn't carried out purely for our comfort. It was intended to bolster our overall efficiency to the war effort. And indeed, the time was fast approaching where we would make a substantial contribution to it. So the Russians have been pushed out of the Crimea? That's just tops. And Stalin has ordered his forces to hold back the Nazis by any means necessary. Phew, you gotta love a man who values the lives of his troops. I know. I reckon he's heading the same way as the Tsar. If his army suffers too many more defeats, he'll have to fight off the Jerrys and a revolution. And you can be sure they'll pull right out of the bloody war then. That's assuming they will lose any more battles. Of course they will. I don't see how. They have an enormous army. Nearly 4 million men by some accounts. They could have 4 billion men and it wouldn't make any difference. Why? Because, Percy, if you want a truly successful army, you need quantity and quality in equal measure. The Red Army might be large, but it's comprised of undisciplined, untrained men carrying subpar weapons. The way I hear it, those poor bastards have guns pointed at them from the front and the back. Like I said, talking about a revolution. Good riddance, I say. Who needs them when we've got the Yanks on our side? Too right, Thomas. After all, they did give the Japs a hiding at Midway, and there's talk they're about to land a massive force in Africa to give Montgomery and his lads a hand. I wish I could be there with them. Not me. I'll stay right here. Don't you want to do your part, James? Are you implying I've been doing nothing since the war began, Thomas? No. I'm just asking why you don't... Oh, never mind. I think I realise why. Is it because of what happened to you on your old line? Yes. War involves too many explosions. I only narrowly survived the last one I was in, and the woman I loved didn't. I have no interest in going through that ordeal again. I understand. Thank you, Thomas. All right, I best be off. I have to get this load to the fort. Lord save me that I have to deal with Benson. Sorry, James. I don't think the Lord's likely to pop by. Not now. Not ever. All right. Where are you, you pompous git? Are you talking to me? What in fizzling fireboxes? Who are you? I'm Rosie, the new shunter. New shunter? When did this happen? Yesterday, old chap. Edward? What is going on here? There's nothing too confusing about it, dearie. Benson doesn't work here anymore. I do. Oh, I see. You almost sound disappointed, James. No, of course not. Please, Rosie, don't misunderstand. It's just, I've spent all morning bracing myself for an argument with your windbag of a predecessor. And now, well, I've been taken pleasantly off guard. I understand. Benson did come across as a little abrasive to me. You should count your lucky stars you only spent a few minutes in his company, my dear. And now I suppose introductions are in order. Rosie, this is James, our number 5 mixed traffic engine on the LNER. A pleasure to meet you. You too, dearie. Judging by your accent, you're obviously American. I had no idea the United States was supplying us with engines in addition to everything else. We don't do things by halves in the good old US of A. And neither do you British boys. Edward here has been giving me some real good advice on how best to run this place. I just gave you a few pointers, my dear. The final one I can give is to make this place your own. Thank you, Edward. I will. And I'll make sure to forget everything Benson told me. That's a very good idea. What did happen to Benson anyway? Did he go back to the mainland? No, I'm afraid not. Then, where is he?
Attention! Attention! Oi, what is all this then? What are you layabouts doing? What does it look like? We're organising these trucks. Well, shake a wheel already. This shipment needs to be organised in a timely manner. This'd be going a lot faster if you didn't interrupt us every 20 seconds to bark orders. Listen here, you big black weasel. We have been given a massive shipment to fill. I have been tasked with ensuring you do the job properly. And if I left you layabouts to your own devices, it will never get done. If that means I have to bark orders at you every 20 seconds, then too bad. Maybe if you Sudrians had a little more discipline and a lot more sense, that fool Colin wouldn't have gotten himself blown up. You bloody mongrel! Don't you dare spin on his memory. Damn straight. He was a hero. No, a hero is someone who has carried out a valorous act and lived to tell about it. That way, he may be able to do it again and inspire others to do the same.
Does that make my brother's sacrifice worthless in your eyes?
Oh, Mrs. Zorro, good morning. What do you mean about your brother?
He died in the last war. He did so saving my life. What do you say to that? That's what I thought. Don't ever mock those who die during a time of war. And don't you ever disgrace Colin's memory again, or I shall report you to the Back Controller himself.
Understood, sir. I sincerely apologize.
There's a good engine. Now, shove off.
Yes, sir.
Nicely done, sir.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. I wish I could have done it sooner. I wish I could say the same about this job, too. It certainly is a big one, sir. What gives? I'm not sure. If I had to guess based on past experience, I'd say this is a build-up for some kind of military operation.
Any ideas on what that could be, sir?
Too many, I'm afraid. I suspect we'll get told only after the job is done. At the rate we're going, that probably won't be until next year. Then, as much as I hate to agree with Benson, we'd best shake a wheel.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Though they were short-handed, the middies did an outstanding job getting Brendam in order. And I would have to say we did likewise at Knapford. Indeed, the sidings at both harbours and at the fort were chock full of trucks loaded with all manner of materials. And at all hours, trains loaded with additional goods arrived at the various quaysides where they were unloaded onto waiting ships. Yet curiously, nothing appeared to be leaving the ports. This led to rampant speculation that this was part of some massive build-up. And just as Mr. Zorro predicted, we would find out only when the jobs were done 5 exhaustive days later.
Oh, if we never have another week like that, it'll be too soon. I know what you mean, Thomas. I'm knackered.
We all are, Toby. We should be back at the sheds resting after a hard day's work.
I'm sure Mr. Starr has a good reason for calling us here, Gordon.
I'm sure he does too, Percy. I'm not doubting that.
Good to hear, Gordon.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Evening, engines. Sorry to keep you waiting. No problem at all, sir. Is something wrong?
I wouldn't say wrong. Perhaps awkward. How do you mean, sir?
First off, congratulations to all of you for your outstanding performance this past week. You truly have excelled yourselves.
With all due respect, sir, are you setting us up before knocking us down?
Of course not, Henry. I meant every word. Just as I am about to mean every other word that comes forth. I'm sure it'll come as no surprise to you that our efforts over the past few days have been in aid of a build-up for a campaign. You're right, sir. That doesn't come as a surprise. Is there any particular reason we weren't told before now? Because Mr. Zorro and I only received confirmation on this 10 minutes ago. We were also told 2 very important details. First, the entire shipment will be going to Africa. And second, they're going to need engines to move it about.
You mean us, sir?
Yes, Percy, I do. I've been instructed to ask for 4 volunteers. Right here, sir! Here, sir!
Aye, sir!
Yes, sir!
That was quick. All right. I just don't know what to say. Are you absolutely sure? Indeed, sir. The Nazis destroyed half the train I was carrying, filled with evacuees. Innocent civilians. I welcome the chance to repay the favor. And they killed Colin. Ever since he saved me from that fire at Wellsworth all those years ago, I considered him a friend. Fair enough. Edward and Henry, what do you have to say? I don't have any reason to not volunteer, sir. Nor do I. I welcome the chance to give Jerry a good thrashing. All right then. Thomas, Edward, Henry and Gordon, I salute your bravery. There is no doubt in my mind you four and the others will do Sodor and Britain proud. Others, sir? What others? All the while Mr. Starr was talking to us, Mr. Zorro was having a similar conversation with his crew. And just like us, when the Middy's director called for a quartet of volunteers, he received a hasty and enthusiastic reply from Adam, Lily, Douglas and Peter. The day after we volunteered, each of us visited the works at Croven's Gate, where we were outfitted with radios and assigned code names. 2 days after that, we were officially inducted into the military's ranks as the 110th Platoon of the Steam Corps, aka the Wild Nor'Westers. I was given the great honor of being named its commanding officer. 4 days later, after a few tearful goodbyes and amidst heavy fanfare, we left Sodor for Africa. And before long, we were right in the thick of it, squaring off against the Desert Corps of Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. Incoming! Ah! Medic! Come on! Move, 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 move! That was close! Too right! Edward! What the? What are you two doing here? You're supposed to be holding the town! Well, the Germans decided they wanted it more! You lost it! We couldn't hold it! Bother! They'll be able to outflank our position up on the ridge now! Our lads up there will need to pull back! Lily, I'm on it! You jelly bastards! If I didn't know better, Douglas, I'd say you were enjoying this. Then you do know better! Oh shit! What is it, Adam? We need to get the hell out of here! Enemy forces are coming at us from behind! Oh great! So we're about to be buggered, are we? Not if I have any say in the matter. Captain! I heard! Come on, lads! We're moving out!
Contact in Colrack. Copying Wagi Grok Wagi D Werf. Well, the Zusugraka Biaf Doors. Dai Wabin Sight Seed Zone.
Edward, they're on their way back. Excellent. But if they have any chance of meeting up with us, we need to retake the town, if only temporarily. Everyone but Peter is with me. What am I to do? I want you to head back to the base
and grab that gun the Americans gave us. The big one. Are we going to Plan B? Yes, we are. But Edward, I know. It'll keep us from advancing, but it'll stop them from breaking through the lines. Peter, go get the gun and position yourself at grid 3F. Do not fire unless I give the order. Right, ya! Come on, engines. Let's give 'em hell! Berhard, Ziel, Feuer! Damn it! Those tossers don't give up! What do we do, Edward? Do we hold them off? No. They might have reinforcements close by. Let's fall back. And leave the guns! Fire in the hole! It may be hard to believe, but what you just saw was one of the smaller skirmishes we would fight across Africa. And though the bridge had been taken out on my orders, we nonetheless won the battle that day. And after the bridge was repaired, we would fight another, reclaiming both the town and the ridge. From there, we went on to a number of other victories that put the Nazis on the run. But, I'm sorry to say, for all our triumphs, it wouldn't be enough to protect us from the enemy within.
И эти люди, лишенные совести и чести, люди с моралью животных, имеют наглость призывать к уничтожению великой русской нации. Немецкие захватчики хотят иметь истребительную войну с народом СССР. Что же, если немцы хотят иметь истребительную войну, они ее получат.
Those had been the fighting words of the Russian leader Joseph Stalin, in which he declared the Germans' intent to fight a war of annihilation would be met by a similar campaign from the motherland. A most prophetic speech. Many brutal battles were fought between the two superpowers, culminating in the disastrous siege of Stalingrad. And about a month prior to that, the Germans had suffered an equally devastating defeat at El Alamein. This put Rommel's forces on the run, and throughout the beginning of 1943, we chased them across North Africa. This truly was the beginning of the end for the Nazi regime. But, I'm sorry to say, they still had plenty of fight left, and more than a few tricks to play. There's an unwritten rule when it comes to war, and that is, win by any means necessary, no matter how disreputable. Victory through strength of arms is often seen as the more honourable tactic, whereas espionage is regarded as schemy and vile. And it's not hard to see why. A well-placed spy can potentially do more damage than an entire army, and an operative skilled enough to blend into an enemy force or society is an insidious enemy, often leading to paranoia and suspicion, whether it's justified or not.
Give it back, Cartwright! The hell I will! I'm taking this to the General! Go ahead, make a bigger fool of yourself. I could do with a laugh. You care to explain this gobbledygook on this letter? It's Welsh, you blithering idiot! It's to my grandfather! Oh yeah? How do I know it's not German? I wouldn't expect a blockhead like you to know English, let alone another language. All right, you Welsh wanker. You asked for it. Come on, let me see hands in the air. Gladly. All right, break it up! Break it up! You two are confined to quarters pending court-martial proceedings. But sir, I don't want to hear it, Corporal. You're soldiers of His Majesty's Army, not a pair of pub-crawling brawlers. Sergeant? Yes, sir. Any man who doesn't want to be charged as an accessory to conduct unbecoming had best get back to work. Smart move.
I'm sure glad that ended quickly. Me too. Fancy getting called out over something as trivial as writing a letter home.
It wouldn't be the first time. Remember last month when Corporal Wallace received that letter from his Uncle Luther?
Oh yeah, that got ugly real quick. I don't think I've seen Wallace since. I heard MI6 came to question him. Next day, he was gone. You don't think they locked him up, do you? Either that, or they made him an interpreter.
Regrettably, I think the former outcome is more likely than the latter, lest we forget what happened to the yardmaster at Elsbridge.
What do you mean?
Oh, you didn't hear about that? It happened just before we left. The police came to question him.
What about?
Apparently, he spent some time in Germany in the 30s. They wanted to know how much time and what he did. According to him, they very nearly asked how many times a day he went to the lavatory.
What a load of rubbish! I wouldn't stand for that.
I highly doubt we'd have a say in the matter, Thomas. Reason is the first casualty of paranoia.
Have you ever thought about writing philosophy, Gordon?
No, I haven't.
Good.
Why, you little... As much as I'd love to see how this'll end, I've got to run.
Are you heading to the front?
Yep. According to the lads, we're very near to pushing the Germans out of Africa. But they need this lot to keep it up. I'll see you blokes later.
Stay safe, mate.
Goodbye, Peter.
Now what's going to happen here? I don't know. One of the couplings might have snapped. Bother! We were making such good time too. Come now, Peter. Don't go getting in a tizzy. We'll have a look. Jesus Christ! What the hell was that? The bridge exploded! What do you mean, exploded? I mean it's now in tiny bits, all burned up and smouldering. Crikey, we could have been on that bloody thing when it blew. We should have been. And with all this petrol, dear God, that was lucky. Bloody oath it was. Blimey, Peter! Talk about a close call! You're not wrong. And considering what we found in my brake van, it's no small wonder how I avoided going up in flames. Look! What the? Is that the lucky lamp? How in fizzling fireboxes did it get here? That's a very good question, Douglas. Although we did take on a lot of equipment and supplies before leaving Sodor. Maybe it got picked up along the way. That seems unlikely, Edward. And surely we would have noticed it before now. Given its record for spontaneous travel, I wouldn't be surprised if it's made the rounds across the entire theatre before now. I don't care how far or wide it's gone. I'm just grateful it found its way onto my train. And so you should, old chap. How do you suppose the Mid-Sodor boys are getting on without it? I'm sure they're just fine. Evening, Mike. Evening, Gus. What's new? Not much. Yourself? My boy's thinking of signing up. You mean here? No, the army. Oh, sorry to hear. Me too. Oh, Tom wanted to see you when you got here. Right. Ta. Evening, Tom. Ah, Gus, my dear fellow. Would you excuse us, gentlemen? Mike said you wanted to see me? Yes. How are you acclimatizing to life on Sodor? Fine, considering they keep banging on about the evils of fascism and what our group did to their precious little island. To hear them tell it, we were trying to take over the place. I know. Their ignorance astounds me. Which is why I think it's time to teach them a lesson and show Britain we're still a force to be reckoned with. What do you have in mind? Well, my sources tell me a large supply shipment is being assembled for delivery to Africa. If something terrible were to happen to it, and you want me to make sure something does, not just you, of course. Our man on Sodor should be able to assist. Are you sure? He hasn't been of much help lately thanks to that repulsive station master. Don't worry, that will be taken care of. Once it has, we can proceed. Excellent. I almost feel sorry for the Sodrians. Do you really? No. Obviously, with 8 of us serving abroad, the rest of Sodor's engines were hard-pressed keeping up with the ever-increasing workload. At least, they were, until a number of others were called in from across the UK to assist, most of whom had visited our little island on previous occasions. It's so nice to have you back, Winston. We've been struggling to handle the heavy goods work ever since Henry left. It's my pleasure, Toby. It's great to be back. Though, I wish I could have come sooner to say goodbye to Edward. You know, just in case. I wouldn't worry about it, Winston. He'll come back. They all will. I know it. That's the spirit, Eric. Oh, while I've got you here, are you taking the troop train today? Yeah. Why? I just wanted to tell you to be careful with it. I will. Just as I was the last time, and the time before that. I would have been careful even if you hadn't told me both times. I did? Oh, sorry. That's okay. I know why. Well, I don't. What's the matter, Toby? We had an accident with a troop train here on Sodor back during the First World War. First World War? That's what they're calling the Great War now. Like I said, there was an accident and a couple of deaths. I've always been tentative when it comes to handling troop trains ever since. Was it you who had the accident? No, Get back to work, you slackers! Ark! Are you still here, Jeffries? That's Station Master Jeffries! When are you going to get it through your thick skull, Jeffries? We will never call you that. And when are you going to learn to shut your gobs? You have no authority over our right to speak. If it relates to the war, I beg to differ. It's bad enough the papers are plastered with headlines of death and destruction. The passengers don't need to be constantly reminded of such atrocities by a couple of loudmouth engines talking about it. Of all the idiotic things I've ever heard you say, Jeffries, that is by far the most imbecilic. Oh, and why is that? Forget it. I don't care what a steam-powered cattle truck has to say about anything. Then you won't mind if I say you're a complete arse, will you? What was that? Oh, so you do care. Just as I thought, you miserable bastard. How dare you! I ought to take an axe and chop you into kindling. I'm going to... Oh, shit. All right, I think we've got all that we need. Thank you for your cooperation, Toby. You're welcome, officer. Don't blame yourself, Toby. Why not? He died because of me. It was his choice to pick a fight, his choice to act like a deranged lunatic. And between you and me, the lads and I had always suspected someone would take him out sooner or later. This way is much, much easier. Glad to be of service, then. Don't give me attitude, Toby. I'm sorry. Can I go? You can. If I need you further, I'll contact Mr. Starr. Very well. Goodbye. Oi, lads! What's going on over there? Jeffries died. What? Really? Who finally went and snuffed him? Was it one of the porters? No. He had a heart attack brought on by an argument with Toby. With Toby? Huh. It's always the ones you least suspect. Hey, Toby! Good on you, mate! Oh, go to hell, Diesel! Oh, nice. What did I do? Diesel, you are a complete prat. Jesus Christ. Try and give a bloke a compliment and everyone jumps all over you. Typical. Evening, Bobby. Good evening, Gus. How are we on this bright and beautiful night? You're very cheerful. And why wouldn't I be? Surely you heard about what happened to Jeffries. I did. Tragic. And a little confusing. I heard he died of a heart attack. That's what makes it all the sweeter. Because it saved you taking him out? Or had you already tried? Would it matter to you if I had? Not in the slightest. He can't interrupt us like he has every other time. Worthless busybody. May he not rest in peace. I'll drink to that, just as I will to our triumph this time tomorrow. It's happening tomorrow. It is. Have you noticed the crate I'm standing next to? The one filled with tractor parts? Not filled with tractor parts. No. So, how are we going to do this? Simple. We load it into your brake van and it gets taken to Knapford as the schedule says. You simply set the timer and walk away. How long will I have? 30 minutes? That should be long enough for you to get clear. Just hop on a bus at the station. Or run, whichever comes first. We'll meet at my house tomorrow night and then we'll get the hell off this island. Thank God. One more day on this miserable scrap of land and I'll lose my mind. Does anyone know how Toby's doing? I last saw him up at Farquhar. He looked pretty miserable and said he was going to spend the night there. I guess he just wanted some time alone. The poor fellow. I do hope you mean Toby and not Jeffries. I do mean Toby, James. But for the record, I never really met Jeffries, so I shan't judge him. Oh, so you are capable of not passing judgment, Alfie. You learn something new every day. You have absolutely no right to gripe about being judged, Jeffy. Not after that abysmal trick you pulled on me in London all those years ago. How many times do I have to apologize for that? What will it take for you to let it go? For you to return to Railgate and never come out again? Lads, you might want to pipe up about now. Why would we do that? Because I don't take kindly to bickering. Oh, good morning, Mr. Starr. Morning, Geoffrey. Is there going to be a problem between you and Alfred? No, sir. No, sir. Good, because we have a very full day ahead of us. That shipment will be leaving for Africa soon, and we need to make up for the time we lost yesterday. Donald and Percy, you two will shunt the trucks at the harbour. Yes,
Aye,
sir. Geoffrey and Winston, you'll be collecting trains from Elsbridge and bringing them to the quays. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alfred, you'll take the express as normal, but once you get back, I want you at the harbour to help with the shunting, as there's bound to be a lot of it. Yes, sir. Happy to help. James, you'll be collecting a goods train from Alsborough for delivery to the harbour. I'll be riding with you on this one. You will, sir? I have a meeting with the manager of the Mid-Sodor Railway, so it's a matter of convenience. Understood, sir. Any questions? No? Right then, engines. Let's get to it. Ah, Toby. So good to see you, dear chap. How are you? Oh, I'm fine. Well, better than yesterday. That's progress. If you need anything, just ask. Thank you, Alfred. I could use some help right now if you can. Of course. Name it. I'm told the train on track 5 has been emptied. Can you shunt it out the way, please? Whereabouts exactly? Most of the sidings are full. Put it on Pier 1. There should be room enough for it. Very well.
I'll get right to it. Cheers. I say, Alfie, how does it feel to go from being a premier express engine to a simple shunter? You mean how does it feel to be a productive, law-abiding member of society? Pretty damn good. You should try it sometimes. I really should have anticipated that. Yes, you should have. Railgate has clearly stunted your intellect. You might just be the world's first quarter-wit. Oh, very droll, Alfie. You have the same caliber of humor as a German. I suppose that accounts for your name. One of these days, Jeffy, you and I are going to come to blows. I always expected we would. The question's only been when. Not today, if it can be helped. Alfred, can you hold off moving this train a moment? Certainly. Is something wrong? The manifest is missing a page, and I just want to look inside the brake van to see if it's there. I won't be long. Take your time. Yes, take your time. Alfred does need his rest. I've been working just as hard as you. You haven't been trudging back and forth with goods trains all day. You're a heavy goods engine. You're designed... Oh dear God! What? What is it? There's a bloody bomb on this train! A bomb? Are you sure? It's got wires and a timer. I'm pretty bloody sure. Good Lord. And all this explosive material. What did the timer read? Under 2 minutes. That's plenty of time. Alfred, what are you doing? Goodness, Jeffrey! What's all the excitement? There was a bomb on that train, and Alfred decided to play the hero. Oh no! I know, the damn fool. That's not what I meant! James, look out! What the? All things considered, what happened that day could have been much, much worse. Amazingly, only the back part of James's train had been destroyed. However, the explosion took the life of his guard, Alfred, and Mr. Starr. Our lads on Sodor were devastated to hear of our director's death, as were we. A memorial would be held to commemorate the great man, and I'm pleased to say by that point, his death had been justly avenged. After Jeffries died, an autopsy revealed the cantankerous station master had been poisoned. The police searched his workplace and found the poison in the office of the yardmaster, Robert Carrigan. He was quick to cut a deal by selling out his partner, Angus Sullivan, one of a number of new railwaymen transferred to Sodor. He too made a deal and gave up the name and location of the group he was associated with, which was revealed to be a splinter group of the supposedly disbanded British Union Party. After combing through the group's files, it was revealed the German SS had been supporting them. This added further charges to the ever-growing list of felonies against the group. Those who weren't executed for treason and espionage were sentenced to life in prison. As I said, their crimes were justly avenged, and the Nazis were soon to pay for theirs. On May 12, 1943, the Axis forces surrendered in North Africa.
And come 1944, the end of the war was in sight.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
Indeed, we did beseech the word of Almighty God as Allied forces assaulted the beaches of Normandy. I can't imagine the ordeal those brave men must have gone through in securing a beachhead. But once they had, American and British forces began pouring into Europe. And not long after Paris was retaken, we were reassigned to the continent. As we did in Africa, we fought in a number of battles and supported the Allied invasion. And it would be during this time we would see for ourselves the true horror of the war. And, I'm very sorry to say, there would be atrocities committed by all sides. 1944 was something of a blur to those of us in the 110th Platoon as we bustled back and forth between the various positions, delivering troops, supplies, and weapons. Before we knew it, 1945 had come, and we welcomed it. By that time, the Battle of the Bulge had been fought. This last-ditch effort by the Germans to turn the tide of the war had failed. Now, they were well and truly facing defeat as Allied forces closed in on Berlin. But when I say Allied forces, I'm unfortunately referring to British and American troops exclusively. The reason why I make this distinction is because the progress of the Russians made it look like they would reach the German capital first, which caused no small amount of resentment among British and American commanders.
Tarnations! Something wrong, Lieutenant? Yes, Thompson, there is. Here we are counting crates of beans while the Ruskies are about to stomp all over Hitler's boudoir. Due respect, sir. What's the problem? The problem, Grady, is we're not the ones doing the stomping.
Isn't that for the best, sir? You know what they say, better dead than red.
How about better dead and red? You knuckleheads are right. Thanks for that. And I'm sorry.
What for, sir?
I shouldn't be complaining to you. You should be complaining to me. That's how the chain of command works.
We don't mind, sir.
Yeah, we'll take complaints over orders any day. Not today, you won't. Get back to work.
Yes, sir.
What do you two make of that?
I don't much like that better dead than red comment. I also don't much like the idea of allowing the Russians to take all the credit for cutting the head off the snake. Aye, it doesn't seem right. Not when we've lost just as much as they have.
Personally, I wouldn't mind if the Russians did take Berlin before we did.
Why?
I think it would be far simpler for one side to take it.
Can you imagine what would happen if both the Russians and Americans entered the city at the same time? Neither would want to give it up to the other. A divided Berlin. Sounds like a great idea if you ask me. A divided Germany would be even better. Then we wouldn't have to worry about them ever starting up a world war again. Are you so sure that would work, Douglas? I can't see how it would possibly hurt anyone. So you agree with me, Thomas? Too right. If we carved up Germany the last time, we wouldn't be here. And who is to say history would have played out any differently had such an act occurred? What are you talking about, Gordon? Let's take the Treaty of Versailles. It punished Germany severely for its role in the previous conflict, and Hitler was able to use it to devastating effect. And should Germany be partitioned in the wake of this war, who is to say that another firebrand agitator won't manipulate it to their advantage 20 years from now? I would have to agree with Gordon there. Maybe even Henry too, over what he said about Berlin. Is it really all that important who ends this war, so long as it does end? That's assuming the fighting stops with Berlin's capture. How do you mean? You've heard about this Manhattan Project the Yanks are working on. If you can believe the rumors, they're cooking up some new kind of weapon. And if the Russians do take Berlin first, odds are the Americans will suddenly have a fat, juicy target they can test it on. Splendid. We vanquished the Nazis only to begin anew with the Soviets. Will this ever end? If you mean war itself, Gordon, that's a question for another day. If you mean this one, I'd say it'll be over very soon. What do you mean, Edward? I was just briefed by General Hammond. Allied forces have crossed the Rhine River. They're now in Germany itself, and we're going with them. What? We're going to Germany? That we are, dear Lily. I've been assured we'll strictly be acting in a supporting role, but we can't make assumptions the Germans will go along with this. When do we leave? In 2 days' time. Into the lion's den. I don't know about the rest of you, but I welcome this. Aye, it'd be mighty grand taking the fight straight to the Nazis' doorstep. Who knows? Perhaps we'll be the first ones to enter Berlin. One can only hope. Maybe. I can't believe how easy this has been. Aye, though I'm not complaining. Not after the hell we went through in Africa. And I must say, these rails are certainly sturdy. Say what you will about the Germans, they know how to build things properly. Careful, Lily. You praise the Jerrys too much, you might find yourself on trial for treason. Perhaps I should belt up then. Never you fear, love. They'll have to ride over my rust-ridden corpse before I ever let anything happen to you. I knew there was a reason why I liked you, Douglas. Oi, Thomas! Dougie! Your train's ready to go. All right. Thanks, Adam. We better get a move on, Dougie. Aye, we better. See you later, Lily. Later, Thomas. Bye, Douglas. Love you. Love you too. What was that? It sounded like incoming! Oh, son of a... Damn it! Fall back! Fall back!
Talk about being caught with our trousers down. How the hell were the Germans able to ambush us like that? I thought we had them on the run. The thing about running away, Henry, is one can always run back. You think intelligence would have been smart enough to keep a watch for such maneuvers? Military intelligence, Lily, is a contradiction in terms. That it is, old chap. Hi everyone. Oh, Peter, Adam, thank goodness you made it. Are you all right? Yes, we're fine. We managed to avoid the ambush and took the long way here. We also picked up a few survivors from other positions along the way. Where's Thomas and Douglas? We don't know. We haven't been able to reach them on the radio. We have to go look for them. Easy, Adam. Let's not go off half-cocked. Especially in light of the thrashing we received. What's the plan, Edward? A counterattack is being organized, but we'll need to wait for reinforcements. They won't arrive until tomorrow. So Thomas and Douglas have to spend an entire night behind enemy lines? Brilliant! God, I hope they make it. We all do, Lily. Crikey! If we go any further, we probably will reach Berlin. I've never puffed so fast and so hard for so long in all my life. Probably because you've never been in enemy territory before. Alas, you're right. And that's exactly where we are, isn't it? I haven't heard anything from the others over the radio. Have you? Hold that thought! Shit! What do we do? Hide, of course! Look! There's a factory up ahead! We might be safe there! How do we know it's not crawling with Germans? We don't! Come on! Bloody hell! That was close! Too right! And what luck! This place looks deserted. We should try raising the others on the radio now. Good idea. It'd be nice to know if they're alive or not. They would be, Dougie. Don't worry. I'm sure they're all right. I'm sure Lily is all right. God, I hope so. What was that? That sounds like a steam engine. Who's there? Are you Fat Controller's engines? Aye, I'm proud of it. Oh, thank goodness. I'm Oliver, and I'm with my brake van Toad. We've run out of coal and have no more steam. Oliver? Not Oliver from the Great Western Railway? Yeah, that's me. How'd you know? We're friends of Duck. You wouldn't be the engines of Sodor, would you? Aye, that's us. Looks like our luck hasn't entirely run out, Mr. Oliver. No, it hasn't, Toad. This is a godsend. Don't go getting excited just yet, laddie. We've still got to get the hell out of here. I think the best option is to wait here and keep trying to call the others on the radio. And if they don't reply, then come the morning, we make a break for it. Suits me. One way or another, we're getting back to our own lines. How's it coming, Henry? We're almost ready. The last of the shells are being loaded now. This is taking too long. We need to be out looking for Thomas and Douglas now. Take it easy, Lily. I want to find them just as badly as you, but if we have any hope of doing that, we need to go about it properly. Excellent advice, Edward. And I'm pleased to say we have found them. We have, General? How? Where? Aerial reconnaissance caught sight of them at a factory near Ostheim, and by an extraordinary stroke of luck, they were sighted in the company of one of our Tapper engines. Tapper engines, sir? As in radio tapping, Henry. Mobile listening stations that are constantly monitoring enemy communications. The engine in question is a Great Western 1400 tank engine named Oliver. He and his brake van Toad were cut off in yesterday's ambush. So we know where they are. Are we going to go get them? Yes. Specifically, you three. The rest of your platoon will help support our attack on Heldenbergen. The assault should provide enough of a distraction for you to rescue them. You can count on us, sir. I know I can. Oh, there's one more thing you should know. The radio operator working with Oliver and Toad is an old friend of mine. One whom I believe you have a history with. Who are you talking about, sir? Blair! Hello, Thomas. It's been a long time. Not long enough. You two know each other? Unfortunately, yes. This tosspot caused all manner of trouble for me and my friends back on Sodor. Then, his disgraced partner sent one of us rolling down a hill and me into a bloody pond. I had nothing to do with that, Thomas. Burke's actions were his own. And as for the so-called trouble I caused, I was just doing my job. Like I'm doing here. Why are you here anyway? Oliver, Toad and I have been monitoring Nazi transmissions for several months now. Why you? I was a radio analyst during the First World War. I was recalled to that post when this one broke out. You can't be too good at that job, or you would have picked up word of yesterday's ambush. We've been tasked with tracking the Nazis' leadership. Lately, we've been chasing one of their more vile members. Who? Is that ours or theirs? Sounds like both. Let me jump on the radio and find out what's going on. If it is our crew, let's hope they're putting the Jerrys through hell. Damn it! Blaudo de Blau 4, are you in Fonen in clear? Nekiet Blaudo, Magia Fonen al Sinrad, Agrim Lolopal Alwal, Wediet Blau 4, Mainan Araquan Yin Lobrau Alal, Cobwich Blaudo, Pop Link. Well? Our lads have launched an attack on Heldenbergen. From the sound of it, the Germans are throwing in everything they've got to defend it. That doesn't sound good. No, but a gap has opened up in their lines. If we have any chance of getting out of here, we need to move now. I don't like the idea of making a break for it during a battle, but I hate the idea of staying here even more. Agreed! Let's go! Oh no! We've been spotted! There's nothing for it! Leg it! I must say, in all my years of service, I've never met anyone with quite so much resource and sagacity as you engines. We're just doing our job, sir. And I'm very grateful for that. And so is Toad. Thank you very much. I'm thankful too. I can see why Mr. Starr thought so highly of you all. May he rest in peace. Careful, Mr. Blair. I might actually start liking you. Well, we can't have that, can we? Nice to see you haven't lost your sense of humour, Tony. I try my best, George. Oh, that just reminded me. We may have found him. You have? Where? That's the frustrating part. He's at a facility called Bulbrick, but we don't know its exact location. Who are you talking about? Hitler? Of course not. That bastard is probably holed up in a concrete bunker in Berlin. I'm talking about Joseph Mengele, the Nazis' chief scientist. Chief sadist would be more accurate. We helped liberate a handful of concentration camps where he served. The stories the prisoners told were enough to churn my firebox. Indeed, Mr. Oliver. I remember one account told by a little girl over what that man did to her twin sister. Ugh, disgusting. So we know where he is, just not where he is. We could get back out in the field and keep searching. Oh, no you don't, Oliver. General Hammond, with all due respect, we have a duty to uphold. Here's an example to us all, chaps. But nonetheless, you have been through quite the ordeal. All four of you have. As such, you will be examined for any damage. Then, and only then, will you return to active duty. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Lucky you, Henry, getting to blow up a couple of Jerry Steamies. Aye, there was a strange sense of satisfaction in blowing them to hell. Big bastards they were too. Dare I say, they could give you a run for your money, Peter. If we ever come across one, I'd be willing to test that. Ah, you boys and your chest thumping. Crikey, look at this mess. Those Jerry shells certainly pack a wallop. Just be careful when sifting through this lot. You never know where you might come across an unexploded one. Clear out! Ouch! Damn safety valve! Oh dear God, no! It should go without saying, Lily's brave action that day got her killed. But her sacrifice did allow Henry to live, albeit not unscathed. Though the Middies number 2 bore the brunt of the blast, our number 3 still suffered damage. Too much for him to be repaired on the front line. He was shipped back to England, bringing word of Lily's passing with him. I'm afraid we weren't given much time to grieve, not after learning some very important information. Over 100 prisoners were taken during the Battle of Heldenbergen, one of whom just so happened to be a former guard at the elusive Bulbrick concentration camp. The guard gave us the facility's exact location. In a blitz-style attack, we swooped in on Bulbrick. Encountering minimal resistance, we quickly took the place. Unfortunately, Mengele wasn't there, but what we did find was no less horrific. Those poor souls. How can people do that to one another? Not people, Edward. Monsters. Too true, old chap. Does anyone else find this place a little odd? If by odd you mean depressing. Not just that. Depression is a given with these places. What do you mean then? Doesn't there appear to be an awful lot of track here? Now that you mention it, yes. If I were to hazard a guess as to why that is, I would say this place wasn't always a prison. Perhaps an industry of sorts. A sawmill, maybe. Why would they convert a sawmill into a concentration camp? I don't know, Adam. Why would they enact a policy that necessitated the need for such wretched places? All right. Let's settle down, chaps. This is an emotional time for all of us, but we need to stay focused. Gordon, once these people are on board your train, take them back to the 407 7th. Adam, head on over to the eastern side of the camp. There's that shed we haven't looked in yet. I'll join you shortly. Right, yeah. Oh, God! Adam? What's wrong? Adam? What is it? Dear God, man! What's the matter? Gordon, there is no God. And if there is, he sure as hell isn't fucking good! Taken aback by Adam's outburst, I then proceeded to make the biggest mistake of my life. I looked inside that damn shed. I'll spare you the gory details, but suffice to say the word abattoir would be a gross understatement. Subsequent interrogations of Bulbrecht staff revealed the facility did indeed used to be a sawmill. At Mengele's request, it was converted into a concentration camp. The Angel of Death then proceeded to conduct his grotesque experiments on the prisoners, making good use of its high-powered equipment. As much as I hate to say it, a morsel of good came out of that mission. Adam and I were deemed traumatized by what we saw. We and our entire platoon were rotated to rearguard duty, returning to our base at Ostend in Belgium. There, far removed from the front lines, we worked and tried to forget. But it wasn't easy. How are you holding up, Adam? I'm getting there. I had my therapy session this morning, and my crew are over there now. Is it helping? Very much so. The important thing is I need to keep working. So what's this train you've brought in, Peter? Just a transfer from the front line. Mostly empty trucks and a couple of tanks that need fixing. What's that coach doing at the rear? Oh, that. That coach is holding German POWs. Really? What's it doing here? It was accidentally attached to my train. By the time they realised this cock-up, it was practically here. It'll be going back tomorrow. Well, track 4 is clear. We'll be able to shunt this train later. Why not now? Because we got a ton of other trucks to move first. I can handle Peter's train, Thomas, if you want to make a start on that lot. You're going to run crewless? No, of course not. They'll be back in about 10 minutes. We'll put this train away and be right over to assist. Sounds like a plan. I can help out too once I refuel. That'd be great. Let's get to it. See you soon, Adam. Right. See you soon.
What's his hurry? What's his hurry? That's just what I... What was that? It didn't sound good. Wait here. Adam! What the hell did you do?
The right thing, Douglas.
What happened? Adam just shunted a coach straight into the bloody sea.
It was full of German prisoners.
Wait, what? You drowned an entire coach full of POWs? What the hell is wrong with you?
Nothing. Those bastards deserve to die.
That wasn't your decision to make.
Can you honestly say what I did was wrong, Edward? I thought not. Son of a bitch.
I hate to say it, but fishing that coach out of the sea was an exercise in futility. Adam's actions caused a profound split among the platoon, our division mirroring that of society's. When news of this made the papers, there were an equal number of voices calling for Adam to be given a medal and to be charged with murder. Neither happened, as our superiors didn't want to incentivize killing prisoners, and, at the time, there were no laws that could charge a non-faceless vehicle with murder. And given who Adam had killed, the politicians weren't exactly in a rush to change that. Even though no charges were laid down, the army certainly didn't trust us after that. As such, our platoon was disbanded, and we returned to Sodor. We arrived to a hero's welcome, despite a rather ignoble end to our service. It was a long and arduous time following the end of the Second World War. As the full cost of the conflict was tabulated, it became painfully clear much work needed to be done to rebuild. This was no easy task, as millions had died and millions more were left homeless. Many countries had been gutted by the fighting, their industries and economies lying in ruins. These national tragedies were compounded by the infinite number of personal losses. And if you saw my previous collection of stories, you'll know Sodor was not spared such deprivations. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. After all, knowing that the fighting was over and that the threat of annihilation or invasion had ended filled us with a profound sense of relief. Not to mention, a new government had come to power in Britain, one that had promised to introduce sweeping reforms to bring the nation out of hardship and into a brighter future. It is a terrible idea, Toby. How can you say that? One word at a time. Oh, very witty, Gordon. What are you two banging on about? This ill-conceived welfare system the government wants to introduce. I think it sounds like a good idea. If by good idea you mean incentivizing slothfulness, it's providing support to those who need it, like the unemployed, the sick, the war veterans. Surely you can't be against supporting our returning servicemen, Gordon. Of course not, but they did something special to earn such consideration. And as to the unemployed, if they receive payment for doing nothing, what's their motivation to find work? And the sick? Those suffering from debilitating illness? Should they be left to suffer alone? No, I suppose not. I still think it's going to cause problems. Well, I suppose I better get this train over to Barrow. Before you go, Gordon, I need to ask, have you heard what's over there right now? No. What? Cinders and ashes! It's true! Settle down, Gordon. No need to burst a piston. It's all right, Whiff. Toby warned me about this. I still can't believe it. Is it really true what he said about the face? You mean that it's painted on? Yeah. Looks like the Jerry slapped one on the front of all their Marklands. That'd explain why they all look the same. Yes, it would. But not why they did it. Maybe they were trying to intimidate us. Didn't work, though. No, indeed. Why is it here? It's going to be the main attraction of a victory tour across the UK. I reckon it should end with them dumping it into the sea. Speaking of which... What? We've been home for 6 months, Gordon, and you haven't said 2 words to him. I avoid conversations with murderers whenever possible. I'm surprised you're so against what he did. You were at Bulbreck too. So was Edward, and yet he was able to refrain from drowning an entire coach of POWs, even after looking inside that shed. What do you think he saw? He hasn't said anything about it. Whatever it was, I think we're better off not knowing. Oh no, there is no way. I'm out of... What? No. No. No! Oh, Edward, don't do that. You'll give my driver a heart attack. Too late. I'm sorry, Keith. You too, Percy. It's all right. What were you dreaming about? Nothing I can talk about. It might help if you did, or it might give you nightmares as well. I won't let that happen to you. I can't tell whether that's selfless or just stupid. As tactful as ever, James. You don't need tact, Edward. You need help. If not from us, then someone. Who? How about Mickey? That's right. He's a professional counselor. It might help if you talk to him. I don't know. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing changes. Trust me, Edward. Talking about trauma does help. Even the tiniest bit. All right. I'll go see Mickey. Brilliant. If you like, I can cover your first train so you can see him nice and early. That'd be great. Thanks, old chap. No worries. Crikey, Edward. No wonder you're having nightmares. They got worse after I heard how many people were killed the day we took Bulbreck. 126. 126 people butchered in a single morning. Do you feel guilty about that? I don't know. I mean, I do wonder if we could have saved those people had we learned of Bulbreck's location sooner, but we didn't. And that's what's so frustrating. If we had found it just a day earlier, one miserable day. Edward, it doesn't help if you focus on what might have happened. Maybe you could have saved the prisoners, or maybe the Nazis would have burned down the camp had your attack not been so sudden. You might not have rescued those 126 people, but you saved many more from being butchered in that horrible place. And you should be proud of that. Wow, I never thought of it like that. Thank you, Mickey. That's a tremendous weight off my mind. My pleasure, Edward. And I would recommend you talk to the others about it. I'm sure they'd be willing to offer their support. I will, old boy. Thank you very much. Anytime, my friend. Anytime. Good morning, Adam. Morning, Edward. You're rather cheerful. Oh, I just spoke to Mickey. Counselling? Yes. How'd you know? Percy mentioned it when I saw him earlier. A jolly good idea, I said. Have you seen him at all? No, but then I haven't been having nightmares. I wonder why. We experienced the exact same trauma. Are you talking about Bulbreck? Yes. Horrible what happened there. Good thing I decided to do something about it. I wouldn't exactly call it humane. Justice rarely is humane. I certainly wouldn't call it justice. So now you have a problem with it? You said nothing at the time, and I was wrong not saying anything.
You were wrong drowning those prisoners.
If I was so wrong, Edward, how come you're the one having nightmares and not me? Silence again,
You don't feel any remorse for what you did?
None.
Then perhaps you should be at Nuremberg with all the others.
Go to hell, Edward.
Talk about an awkward situation. Tell me about it. I don't think they even noticed I was there. It's a bad business, lads. No two ways about it. What's Douglas's opinion on the matter? He was the one who saw what Adam did. The answer depends on the time of the week. One day, he's chastising Adam for stooping to the Nazis' level, and then the next, he's raging that he didn't have the nerve to do it himself. I heard he and Henry have had a couple of run-ins since they got back. Aye, Dougie blames him for Lily's death. Why? From what I understand, it wasn't his fault. I don't know. I've tried to calm him down, but it's hardly made any difference. You're right, Donald. It's a bad business. One that looks to get a lot worse when the refugees arrive. Come now, Ivo. Don't be like that. Those people have suffered horrible hardships. So have we. Half the country got bombed back to the Stone Age. Not to mention industry has started slowing down since war production is no longer a priority. They've even had to implement bread rationing, for crying out loud. It's not going to do the nation much good to introduce thousands of extra mouths to feed. That's what the lads are saying over at Brandham. And what are you saying, Donald? That our charity is going to cause problems. I am pleased to say that Donald was wrong for the most part. As I said at the start, millions have been left homeless by the war. A massive reconstruction effort was carried out across Europe, one that did allow for the vast majority of people to return to their homes. However, thousands still chose to emigrate elsewhere in search of greener pastures. Most found their way to the United States, but plenty still came to Britain and Sodor. Day and night, ships docked at the island's ports to drop off refugees. These people were certainly grateful for the hospitality that was offered and were quick to assimilate, and even quicker to find work.
Engines, I'd like to introduce our new porter, Radek Zelenka. How do you do, Mr. Zelenka? Welcome to the Mid-Sodor Railway.
Thank you. And please, call me Radek.
You can call me Duke. And this is Stanley.
Nice to meet you. Zelenka, is that Czech by any chance? It is. How'd you know? I served in France during the First World War. I met a lot of men from the Czechoslovak legions. Brave chaps, every one of them. You were in France? So was my father. Really? Where was he stationed?
I think those are stories for another day, youngster.
Yes, indeed. We've got several deliveries to handle, and the first one will be coming in soon. I'm ready to work. I like the cut of your jib, Radek. Excuse me? Haven't you heard that before? Sorry, I'm still getting used to all these British expressions.
And you'll hear plenty of them on this railway, I promise you that. So the lamp's finally come home. Where'd you find it? It just showed up outside Mr. Zorro's office this morning. He figured since you lot had it last, you should have it back. Thank you very much for that. I'll tell you what, we nearly rolled off our rails laughing when we heard it had turned up in Africa with your platoon. We were in disbelief too, especially after we heard something happened up at the slate quarry. We were tempted to send it back. There was no need. What happened that day wasn't bad luck. It was just carelessness. Wasn't it, Falcon?
Yes, Grandpuff.
At any case, I'm glad you kept it. You lads needed it more. It might be why most of you came back. It would have been better if we all had.
All right, Adam, your train's empty.
Cheers. I'll just shut this lot aside.
Wait! Stop! Stop!
What? What is it?
There's something on the track behind your train.
What sort of something?
It looks like a pipe. I don't see nothing, but I'll go have a look. Blimey! Well, Morty? Yeah, there's something here. Nice to see the lucky lamp hasn't lost its touch. I'm sorry, lucky lamp? Is that another one of those British expressions you talked about, Duke?
No, Radek. This is something else entirely.
Sorry, Radek, was it?
Thank you for preventing a derailment. I didn't fancy the idea of being trapped in a siding all day.
Not a problem, Adam. After word got around of his involvement in preventing a derailment, Radek became quite popular and distinguished himself as one of the hardest workers on the MSR. He made friends with everyone, man and machine. He also shared his experiences during the war, how his family were driven from their farm by the Nazis. And during the Christmas pageant that year, he delivered a heartwarming speech thanking the people of Sodor for providing refuge. And before we knew it, 1946 had come. This was a rather interesting year, as the groundwork began to be laid for some of the aforementioned government reforms. I'll elaborate on the specifics in a future story, but for now, suffice to say, there were a few concerns, especially amongst the coal industry. And I'm sorry to say that the aftermath of a routine inspection began a series of very unfortunate events. You don't look happy, Billy. I'm not. We had a visit from the Coal Commission today. They were assessing the mine for when it becomes nationalized in July. It didn't go well? Yes and no. They were impressed by the volume of coal we put out, but they weren't too thrilled about having a convicted felon acting as the assistant foreman. Who's that? Me. You? I used to be a demolitions expert, but I did something stupid back in 1938 and got sent inside for it. I lost my license too. But your boss was kind enough to pull some strings that got me the job at Marston Heights. Well, you helped me once, so it was only fair. But getting back to the inspection, are you worried you'll get sacked when the mine goes national? It's possible, but there's a bigger problem. If I do get the boot, I might not be the only one. The inspector said there may have to be layoffs if the mine's to be economical after the takeover. As many as 100 of the lads might be put out of work. That's rubbish. How can they expect a mine of your size to operate without a third of its workforce? Buggered if I know. But needless to say, the lads aren't too happy about that. Some of them began joking if the inspectors ever take the train, we should pull an Adam on them. You Brits and your expressions. I don't think I'll ever get used to them. Oh, you don't know about that? Know about what?
Good morning, Radek.
Morning, Adam.
You're looking rather stern this morning. What's the matter?
I was told some very disturbing information about you last night. Did you really shove a coach of POWs into the sea?
Yes. You admit that? Of course I do. It's no secret. Everyone on the island knows about it. And I don't just mean Sodor. I'm surprised you only just found out.
So am I. I'm also disgusted that you don't regret what you did.
Why would I? They were Nazi scum. How many people did they torture and kill before I finally gave them their comeuppance? Why are you so put out by what I did? The Germans brutalized Czechoslovakia, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But during the final months of the war, as they got desperate for manpower, they began conscripting Czechs to fight in their armies, including my brother.
Your brother? No.
Yes. He was one of the Nazi scum you drowned at Ostend.
Oh. Oh, God. Radek, I'm so...
Don't say a word, Adam. It won't change anything. Blimey, that's rough, mate.
It seems the lucky lamp isn't so lucky after all.
Luck has nothing to do with it, Reggie. Adam here shouldn't have been so daft as to commit a war crime in the first place. Oh, great. Kick an engine while he's down. That's real nice, Dougie. Don't get all high and mighty with me, Diesel. Hold your wheesh, Dougie. You're getting all worked up over nothing. You stay out of this, Donny. All right, knock it off. For goodness sake, I can hear you all the way from the quayside.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zorro. We're dealing with some issues.
Yes, I know. Adam, I heard what happened at Alsborough today. How are you holding up?
Not that good, sir. I was so convinced what I did was right. But now, what if Radek's brother wasn't the only conscript in that coach? And what if they weren't combatants? Maybe they were cooks or clerks. Did they deserve to die like that? Did any of them?
Adam, I want you to see Mickey first thing in the morning. He's worked wonders on everyone else in your platoon. I'm sure he'll be able to help you too.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Now, changing the topic, the reason I've come over here is to tell you something very important. As is painfully obvious, Colin and Lily's death means we're down 2 engines. The Nor'easters have been graciously helping us out, but it's become apparent we need our own designated shunters. To that end, I've arranged for a pair of new engines to join our crew.
You're replacing them, sir?
I'm sure you can appreciate why, Douglas. We will need the help. And when the nationalization of the railways takes effect, we have to be at full strength. The engines I've lined up have good records. I want you all to make them feel welcome when they arrive next week. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Good. The middies soon told us about the replacement engines they'd be getting. Their feelings were rather mixed on the matter, as they were worried the newcomers might make us forget their predecessors. Likewise, we Nor'easters were rather ambivalent when we were told we'd finally be getting a new director. With the help of our friends, we managed to reacclimatize to civilian life and move on from the hardships of the Second World War, which ended in Europe on May 8, 1945, and on September 2nd of that year in the Pacific. The world was profoundly altered by that terrible conflict. Great changes had been made, and others were yet to come. But those are stories for another day.
Just you wait and see. I'll never forget the people I met, braving those angry skies. I remember well as the shadows fell, the light of hope in their eyes. And though I'm far away, I still can hear them say, thumbs up. For when the dawn comes up, there'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be love and laughter and peace ever after. Tomorrow, when the world is free. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see.